forgotten town. Mahmoud had been driving for hours, lost on an unfamiliar road that wasn't on his GPS. The sun had just begun to set when he spotted a small town in the distance. It seemed peaceful, too peaceful. There were no cars on the streets, no sounds of life, yet the buildings looked well kept. As he drove into town, he noticed the people. They were there, standing on porches, peering through windows, but their expressions were blank. They didn't talk, didn't move much, just watched. He stopped at a small diner, its neon sign flickering weakly. Inside, an old man behind the counter greeted him with a forced smile. "Welcome, traveler. Passing through?" "Yeah," Mahmoud said, glancing around. The other customers sat stiffly at their tables, staring at their food, unmoving. Something was off. "No hotels here," the old man continued, "but you can rest for a while, just don't stay past midnight." Mahmoud frowned. "Why not?" The man hesitated, then leaned in, lowering his voice. "Because when the clock strikes 12, we disappear." Mahmoud laughed uneasily. "Disappear? What do you mean?" The man just shook his head. The other customers had begun to shift uncomfortably, their eyes flicking toward the large clock on the wall. It was 11:45 p.m. Mahmoud felt a chill. He turned to leave, but as soon as he stepped outside, the street was emptier. The people who had been standing motionless earlier were gone. The only sound was the wind whistling through the empty town. He hurried back to his car, but the engine wouldn't start. Panic set in as the clock inside the diner chimed. 1, 2, 3. Midnight. A hand grabbed his wrist. He spun around to find a young woman, the only person left in town. Her eyes were wide with terror. "Run," she whispered. "They're coming for you next." Mahmoud barely had time to ask who before he heard it. A low, guttural whisper all around him. The shadows between the buildings began to move, stretching toward him like living things. He turned and ran, sprinting down the main road. Behind him, the town was fading, buildings dissolving into darkness. The girl was gone. The diner was gone. Mahmoud didn't stop running until he was back on the main road, his car, miraculously, waiting for him. The engine roared to life this time, and he sped away, not daring to look back. When he finally reached the next town, exhausted and shaken, he asked a gas station attendant about the place he had just escaped from. The man gave him a confused look. "There's no town like that around here. Hasn't been for years." Mahmoud's blood ran cold. He turned back toward the road. In the distance, where the forgotten town had been, all he saw was empty land. The end.